What was the Dutch tulip bulb market bubble? According to Investopedia, the Dutch tulip bulb market bubble, also known as Tulip Mania, was one of the most famous market bubbles and crashes of all time. It occurred in Holland during the early to mid 1600s when speculation drove the value of a single tulip bulb to extremes. At the height of the market, the rarest tulip bulbs traded for as much as 6 times the average person's average salary. Today, the Tulip Mania bubble serves as a parable for the pitfalls that excess greed and speculation can lead to. Now, where am I going with this? Well, I'm obviously recording this video during the latest Heritage Auctions graded video game signature sale that is happening in July 2021, where a copy of Mario 64 factory sealed graded by WATA Games in 9.8 condition just sold for over $1.5 million. So I do want to talk about this in depth. In my opinion, I do not consider this sale to be a good investment from the person that made this particular sale, meaning the buyer, because WATA Games still refuses to release population reports for the items they grade. Now, we have another development to this story that I do want to talk about. On July 8th, 2021 of this year, the Certified Collectibles Group. If you don't know who the Certified Collectibles Group is, they are out of Sarasota, Florida. They own such companies as CGC, NGC, PMG. Those are the main grading companies that they control. They pretty much grade comic books, lobby cards, magazines, collectible trading cards. They also grade coins, obviously paper money, currency, which you guys know that I also collect. And they do have other grading conglomerates under that particular moniker that grades everything from stamps to other smaller collectibles and sports cards that I'm not going to go into in this video. Well, the Certified Collectibles Group just announced that they are looking to hire top-tier video game experts to launch their new video game grading service. Now, I consider this to be a breath of fresh air, given the fact that WATA Games refuses to publish population reports and make those reports public, free of charge, to everybody out there who is involved in these markets. And the reason why I'm stating this is, if you look at the Certified Collectibles Group, for almost everything that they grade, to my knowledge, they have readily available population reports that anybody can log on and view. So if you collect coins, comic books, currency, stamps, trading cards, magazines, whatever it is, you have access to real-time information that is updated. I think it's updated once every quarter. That just shows how many copies or how many different grades there are of each different collectible that they grade. This is very important information. I've said this before. I've been pushing for this. I know other YouTubers that have a lot more subscribers than me that I've been in contact with have been pushing for this level of transparency. Make no mistake, a lot of the people that are paying a record sum for a lot of these collectibles right now could easily get burned. This really reminds me of Tulip Mania. You know, I did a previous video where I talked about how in the 1980s, coin grading was subject to this same level of speculation and mania. And it pretty much was driven to new heights. And this was back before the internet, guys. And a lot of you reach out to me and you say, Shawn, you don't understand. It's different now because collectibles are more liquid due to the internet. No, it is worse now because people do not understand how these markets work. They are seeing all this hype-driven material coming out from hype-driven YouTubers, from auction companies, from people in the trade that their main interest is their own self-interest, whether they're involved in these markets from the standpoint of somebody who is a dealer, somebody who is unfortunately affiliated with a grading company, or even an auction house or a forum, or they're a well-known collector that has a lot of these items in their personal inventory, so therefore they have a vested interest to protect the price of these items. You need to understand that these markets, due to the internet, are easily manipulated. And this is really what I really want to talk about in a lot of these videos going forward. I would urge a lot of you that are participating in this market, just get caught up to speed on how speculative bubbles work. Go and watch some of my other videos where I talk about the books that you should be reading to verse yourself in these markets over the long term. And if you are somebody out there that just wants to speculate over the short term in these markets, now is a good time to sell. I tell people this religiously, even clients that come to me for my consulting services. I tell them, if you have graded video games and you are looking to sell them into the market, you are going to get top dollar right now. For crying out loud, a copy of Super Mario World that came out for the Super Nintendo, factory sealed, graded by WATA, sold for over $300,000 in this particular auction. These prices are insane, in my opinion, and in the opinion of other experts in the trade. These prices are not sustainable. In one of my earlier videos, I even talk about an excellent article that was written by Harry Rinker, who is a collectibles expert who talked about graded video games. I was interviewed for one of the main articles put out by the New York Times on the subject of graded video games, entitled "Collectors Are Paying Thousands for Games They Will Never Play." I don't know how many more videos I need to do on this topic, but I am going to start to do more videos on speculation on what happened in other collecting markets as a result of mass euphoria, of mass price euphoria, and what it led to, because there's a lot of people that seem to think that because these items are 20, 30, 40 years old, they are pretty much almost verified blue chip collectibles. That is not how these markets work. You know, I've said this before. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, video games, vintage video games. These are very speculative markets. They are not established. Some of you guys leave me comments like, Shawn, you don't understand. They've been around for 25, 30 years. Are you aware there are coins in my collection that are over 150 years of age or older? 25, 50 years is not a long time in the overall antiques and collectibles trade. And I'm going to repeat another point. If you look at vintage comic books post 1965 are not yet established. Pre-1965 comic books, like your X-Men 1, your Amazing Fantasy 15, your Action Comics 1, your Detective Comics 27, they are starting to become established in the marketplace. And if you look, an Action Comics 1, a Detective Comics 27, they were published in 1939. Video games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, they have decades to go before we can even assess the market validity of these items without the market being this volatile in the year 2021. I have expressed this sentiment on this channel over and over and over again, to the point where I am blue in the face. I have written articles on this topic. I have exchanged emails and talked to other experts in the trade. They do agree this market has been massively manipulated. I'm talking about the market for graded video games at present time. I am going to put a link in this video description to Investopedia's perfect scenario where they talk about the Dutch tulip bulb market bubble definition, and they go into a little bit of detail on this. I don't want to do a video on this just yet, but I do want you guys to be aware as to what happened in Holland in the mid-1600s when it came to what people were paying for a single tulip bulb, and people back then thought it was justified. You know, guys, I want to put this in perspective for you. Does anybody really believe that a factory sealed 9.8 condition copy of Mario 64, Super Mario 64, that came out towards the end of 1995, 1996 in the United States? Does anybody really believe that that should be selling for, at present time, for $1.5 million or more? Does anybody really think that a factory sealed copy of Super Mario World that launched with the Super Nintendo and was sold separately? Now, to be fair, I understand that most people, because when they bought the system, it came with Super Mario World, So most people did not buy it separately. So it is somewhat scarce and or possibly rare out there in the marketplace. But does anybody think that in the year 2021, a factory sealed and graded copy of Super Mario World, which came out for the Super Nintendo back in 1991, 1992, should be worth more than an average size house? Because that's where we're at with these video games. So, I give a round of applause to WATA Games. I give a round of applause to the auction companies, to the top tier collectors, because they all colluded perfectly to make this thing a thing. And it is the next big thing. I'm here to tell you, video games, as speculative as they are, have become the next big thing, the it in the antiques and collectibles trade in the year 2021. The question is, how long will this last? Well, I encourage you all to read the article in the link below about the Dutch tulip bulb market bubble that occurred in Holland in the 1600s to see if these prices are sustainable. There's going to be more surprises along the way, guys. This market's not going away anytime soon. I will state, though, I would encourage any of you that are playing in this market to reach out to WATA Games and try to get them to release the population reports that they are protecting for whatever reason. I honestly think transparency and ethics are what is needed in this market right now going forward. And I really think it'll go a long way to establishing transparency and at least some type of ethical decorum going forward if those population reports were made public. Because I'm going to tell you, if anybody from WATA Games is watching this video, you now have some serious competition on your hands. I get VGA was not a big competitor to WATA Games. CGC, they have the money, they have the capital to pretty much own this market if they do this properly, if they do it correctly, and if they bring transparency and ethics back to this market. So what I will tell all of you watching this video is this is a great announcement because it is going to put pressure on WATA Games right now. Because if you guys recall, literally a week before this announcement went out, CGC, which is owned by the Certified Collectibles Group, that whole organization was pretty much taken over by Blackstone, which is a Wall Street investment firm. So they have a lot of cheap money flowing to the top, to the point where if they want to get into this market and they want to take it over, they can easily compete and probably financially crush WATA Games if they wanted to. So it's going to be very interesting to see where we go from here. If you want more of my commentary, please feel free to subscribe to this channel, as I will be doing a lot of more videos on graded video games now, since this has become the it thing, thanks solely to market manipulation and a lack of transparency in this market. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.